This is Michael Popok, Legal AF After Dark. It's time to turn to Georgia. The leaves might be starting to change, but I'll tell you what's not changing. The desire of the Fulton County District Attorney to take 2 of the remaining 18 co-conspirators, along with Donald Trump, to trial. There is a trial that's starting on the 23rd of October, hard to believe, in which Fani Willis is going to get a dress rehearsal. She's going to be able to put on her entire case to a jury in Fulton County and then use the results of that, a conviction of Sidney Powell and Ken Chesebro, hopefully, the disgraced lawyers who worked for and with Donald Trump and as co-conspirators. If she gets a conviction, she'll learn a lot from the conviction as she meets Donald Trump in the courtroom later in 2024 for his trial. If she loses, she's going to learn a lot about how to improve her presentation of the evidence and witnesses to the next jury, a new jury that'll be hearing the case of Donald Trump in the first or second quarter of 2024. Either way, the live televised jury trial, yes, you heard it right, just like the OJ trial of yore, you're going to see day-to-day coverage of the Fulton County, Georgia election interference case against Donald Trump and others right here on the MeidasTouch Network. Take a listen to Ben Meiselas and me, my co-anchor on Saturday, on our update as we move closer, ever so closer, to the actual trial that starts this week.
Now, let's talk about what's going on in Fulton County, Georgia. Michael Popok, we're gearing up for trial. In less than 10 days of Trump's co-defendants, Ken Chesebro and Sidney Powell. We see some of the strategy unfolding by Fulton County District Attorney Fani Willis, who was ready for this trial when they made their speedy trial demand under Georgia law, which basically meant the case had to go to trial before November 1st. And you can see the strategy unfolding, that Fani Willis knows exactly what Ken Chesebro and what Sidney Powell are going to try to do. Like, especially with Chesebro, it's brilliant because, Chesebro's this appellate lawyer who kind of went full MAGA and got radicalized, but all of the kind of defenses he's tried to assert, you can tell his lawyer is just going to be arguing. He just sent some memos. He sent some emails. He was asked to give some legal advice, and he provided it. And you may not like the advice, but he's sitting in his ivory tower just writing these emails. Well, if the email is a plan to overthrow our democracy and overthrow our government, I don't care if it's 16 emails, 1 email, a crime is a crime is a crime. But you notice this, Popok, that they're requesting, the Fulton County District Attorney's Office is requesting subpoenas from Ronna McDaniel, the head of the RNC, and also Alex Jones. I want you to talk about everything that's going on in Georgia, but I just wanted to hit the Alex Jones one at the top about Fulton County District Attorney Fani Willis's strategy, because Ken Chesebro was partying with Alex Jones the day before the insurrection. He was buddy-buddy with Alex Jones and Proud Boys and Oath Keepers and all these right-wing terrorist organizations. He was literally hanging out and partying with them. So she wants to call Alex Jones in and compel his testimony, show the videos of Chesebro like hanging out with Alex Jones, and immediately crush exactly what Chesebro's lawyer is going to try to present him at. He's going to be in his nice little suit, and he's going to say, "Oh, look at him." Go, really? You were partying with Alex freaking Jones. So tell us what else is going on. Judge McAfee is superstar as well.
Yeah, let's stay on Jones for a minute. They've got footage of Alex Jones with Chesebro on Jan 6th at the Capitol, with Chesebro wearing a MAGA hat and walking around. Now, there's no evidence that they were there or participated in the actual insurrection or the violent attack on the Capitol, but she's going to show that video as well, and that he's in bed with just the wrong kind of people. QAnon, election denier, Sandy Hook denier, defamer, Alex Jones. Alex Jones says he's going to fight it, but he's been subpoenaed, and the courts in his state will honor the subpoena for Georgia, and he'll be forced to testify and validate the footage, the video footage that you're talking about, which is going to shrink Ken Chesebro down to size and undermine all of his arguments, as you said, is that he's just some sort of leather patch tweed coat wearing, pipe smoking, legal scholar that, just came down and typed up some memos. He's trying to suppress the evidence of those memos from even being shown. He wrote not one, not two, but four separate memos in which he encouraged the use of alternate electors. We call them the fake electors. Whether there was an existing valid court case in Trump's favor or not. The memos sort of take a turn halfway through as they got more desperate, and his argument that they could be used got more desperate as he circulated it to Rudy Giuliani, Sidney Powell, and other lawyers to use. And those are the object of the crime. Those are the evidence of the crime, and he wants them suppressed, not because they were illegally obtained, which is normally the foundation for suppressing evidence or excluding it from trial. It's not because of that. It's because they are real and they were used. But he wants to argue that he was only providing legal advice, and they're somehow covered by some sort of privilege and some sort of justification in law. And Fani Willis said, first of all, you're probably participating in a crime fraud which strips any attorney-client privilege away from whoever you are sharing it with, whoever has that privilege, and that's likely to win. And that's the argument that Jack Smith used to strip the attorney-client privilege away the last time Donald Trump tried to assert it over a lawyer, which was Evan Corcoran, his lawyer for Mar-a-Lago. But she's also going to argue, which I think is a very good argument, and that's where the videotape and the Alex Jones thing comes in, that these aren't legal memos at all. These are political memos. And if you're doing, a lawyer can serve a lot of different roles. I've been inside of a company as a deputy general counsel, as a head of litigation. Sometimes I was the senior vice president, managing director doing business things. And I don't get in my client, in that case, the company doesn't get the benefit of a privilege when they talk to me when I'm wearing that hat. Sometimes I was the head of litigation, head of employment matters, and therefore that conversation was privileged and my email exchanges related to it. So lawyers can serve in different functions, and sometimes the privilege applies and obtains and sometimes it doesn't. And she's arguing this is all political strategy. He just wants to overthrow the country and try to pull levers in the state electoral process and federal electoral process. This isn't just a lawyer. He's gone beyond that, and therefore he doesn't get the benefit of the privilege. So she's got a belt and suspenders way to go after Ken Chesborough. This is again desperation that we're watching with these two people who are going to be tried. And we keep saying it, but until the day that we're on live television commentating and doing analysis for the MeidasTouch network, it's hard to believe. We keep talking about it like we used to talk about one day Trump will be indicted, we promise. And then he is, and it changes the weather in the room. But Sidney Powell finally woke up and started filing her own motions, but they're laughable. I actually said on one of my hot takes, was this created by ChatGPT? This can't be real intelligence. This has to be artificial intelligence that wrote this. She's actually claiming she wants the judge to take judicial notice, effectively, that she was allowed to coordinate the break-in of the Coffee County election office, use several people to go in there and download illegally, break into the voting machines and download illegally the computer software data for confidential voter data, so she could take it off in a thumb drive and use it in lawsuits or in hearings or or otherwise. And she's saying she wants the judge to recognize that there are statutes in Georgia that dictate how an election office repairs, maintains, and keeps their equipment in good working order. Okay, Sidney, what does that have to do with your break-in? The fact that they have the right and the obligation, and then she miscites every I did it in a hot take. Every statute that she cited, she left off key language that both Fani Willis and Judge McAfee will zoom in on. We've already seen how he writes, the judge, and say, yeah, that's great, but you forgot the first sentence. You forgot that, and so that's going to fail. the statute about how to clean the machines doesn't give you a defense for criminal liability for breaking into them and taking the software with you. And so you got that going on. And then the judge has got a couple of loose ends. He's got a couple of motions out there by Ken Chesborough on the supremacy clause for the U.S. Constitution should give him a defense. None of this is going to work. And none of this is going to get them a jury instruction either. They are going to start picking a jury on the 20th of October. It's going to take them 2 or 3 weeks. It's much slower in the state process than it is the federal process. We've read in reporting in Atlanta that the judge is going to bring down 900 potential jurors. That's a lot. And then start bringing them in, I guess, as much as the room can hold, 20, 30 at a time until they get their 12 in the box. With the challenges that each side is allowed to have. It's going to take a while. I mean, we'll open up the show and we'll talk about, jury selection has started. Whatever's in the public record, we're gonna report on. But in terms of an opening statement, that's going to be a week or at least 2 weeks away. There's some juries in jury selection in Georgia that takes like months, but because of speedy trial, this might go much, much quicker. But I don't think we're going to see an opening statement until week 2, which would put us like right around Halloween in Georgia for that. Isn't that appropriate? Or Mischief Night. All right, we're back, and I'm glad you're here, and I'm glad you found us. If you know about Legal AF and you're already a listener and follower, we thank you. If you're not, and that was your first taste of what 2 lawyers, commentators, analysts, trial lawyers who've been in courtrooms just like this one, what we can bring to your life in terms of facts, no smoke, no sunshine, then watch us on Legal AF on Wednesdays and Saturdays right here, same place, the MeidasTouch YouTube channel. 8 p.m. each time. On Wednesdays, I do it with Karen Friedman-Agnifilo. On Saturdays with Ben Meiselas, as you just saw. And that's the way you can support us. Watch the full-length podcast on YouTube. Listen to it on audio, wherever you get your audio podcast from. We do hot takes, Karen, Ben, and me, on the intersection of law, politics, and justice about every hour on the MeidasTouch Network. And you can find each of us both in the video feed and go over to playlists and look for our names. You'll find all of our body of work then. Until my next hot take, until my next episode of Legal AF, this is Michael Popok reporting.
Hey Meidas Mighty, love this report? Continue the conversation by following us on Instagram @MeidasTouch to keep up with the most important news of the day. What are you waiting for? Follow us now.